We'll call this meeting to order, 7:33. Welcome to Winnetka Township Board meeting. Will you please call the roll, Mr. Clerk?
Certainly. Supervisor Gail Eisenberg.
Here.
Trustee Kate Cassell McNally.
Here.
Trustee Elliot Rodman. Here. Trustee Stephen Moser. Here. Trustee Danielle Rubin.
Here.
Assessor Jan Churchwell.
Here.
And via Zoom, we have Administrator and Deputy Clerk Hopkins.
As well as our financial
As well as our financial, and is there any?
and our observer, Mary Lowe.
Oh, thank you. Okay, welcome to the meeting. Madam Supervisor, we have a forum to conduct this.
We'll all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Let's decide to sign the out. Okay, so most important part of supervisor's report is that we have an intergovernmental committee meeting regarding the mental health cooperation that we have been discussing for quite some time here. Essentially, if you recall, they had a consultant come in to offer kind of options now that they've done all this research on what is needed in the community. And then what can be done by government. So what was recommended by the staff to the committee were two things. One was a joint communications effort to normalize and provide resources regarding mental health, primarily in amplifying township resources. Essentially, there was a lot of discussion about like, oh, we need this database. We need to know what's available to our public, to which we pointed out, I pointed out that we do that. Certainly we can improve and become more user friendly. And I welcomed the committee to offer feedback on that. And even since then have, I think, improved based on the feedback from the committee. But essentially, the library tried to put together a list of resources and found that they were just replicating what we already had. And so that decision was made to kind of amplify the township's mission and normalize mental health concerns. Essentially, they've offered a suggested budget for this effort, and our share is extremely minimal. I believe it's about $300. I'll get the exact number. For a year program. And essentially we can get that, we have that in our communications budget to aid in this effort. I think it would be clearly ensconced within our mission. So that is a part of our current budget as presented today. Any questions on the intergovernmental efforts? There was also discussion about what the next iteration of the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee will be. And it was determined that it will become less of a regular meeting. There have been multiple iterations of this program. This is WillMet only. And going forward, it will be piggybacking off of the League of Women Voters' State of the Village program. So essentially, there would be an outward-facing intergovernmental meeting, if you will. Everyone gets the same update. And then afterwards, about a month later, taking those presentations into a meeting of representatives of the government. So not trying to create an issue to address, but instead seeing where there are areas where we can cooperate based on an existing program. So that is exciting. I do hope that we can do something similar with Winnetka. Perhaps Kate can help us to get that moving, as well as Glencoe. Is it Winnetka and Glencoe together?
For what purposes?
For League of Women Voters purposes?
I
Winnetka
don't think so.
Winnetka Northfield, sorry.
Yeah, it's Winnetka
Okay.
Northfield.
And Winnetka Kenilworth.
It might actually be Winnetka Kenilworth Northfield.
Ah.
That might be, because there are a number of things for which Kenilworth is. part of.
Absolutely. So very
If you
exciting.
need to hit on anything, myself.
It's true. It's true. All right, Mr. Clark.
So I'm going to ask you, please table the minutes. I've been working diligently on it. I take pride in it, but I've explained to you privately, I've had some issues and it's not excusing it, but you'll have very quality minutes, shortly, and you'll get paper copies and electronically. So I'm just asking for your, understanding on the table approvals tonight.
I move to extend the minutes until the next board meeting.
Seconded.
All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, we will address the minutes at the next meeting.
Isn't the next meeting in May now, though?
Yeah,
Yes, so we will have a decennial meeting in the interim.
But you'll have
Yes.
copies.
on the
Okay.
16th, will that be?
The 16th is the
Yes,
annual
sir.
meeting.
Oh, right, I didn't mean the 16th, I meant, like the 23rd following.
The 9th, before 9th, the original Township,
The original.
We'll have a meeting that night,
we will have a meeting that night, yeah,
So,
on the ninth,
for decennial,
on the ninth.
yes.
Okay.
You should have gotten an email,
For that.
7 PM.
7 PM, yep. We will continue, well, send another reminder, yep, as well.
Just real quick.
Mhm.
I just want to be very sure that I'm understanding this. In May, at the May normal meeting,
Mhm.
we're gonna have the January, February, March,
Yes.
and yeah, all of those.
Yeah.
Do you need help?
Thank you for the offer, thank you for the question. I'm actually really good at it, but it takes very much time. It's almost like stroke therapy.
No, I totally get it. I'm
So
just
I-
saying,
it's been
if
very
you need
challenging.
help, Please reach
Thank
out.
you, thank you,
I'm happy to help.
thank you.
And just to clarify, so we have a regular board meeting on April 9th at 7. We have the annual,
Decennial.
Decennial meeting.
it's a what?
The decennial committee meeting.
Oh, the decennial committee. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yep. And for those of us who are Angel Fund, we also have Angel Fund meeting that week as well, just to keep us on our toes. Okay. Oh, I did, sorry, I missed on the supervisor's reports, that we should have all gotten an email from the Cook County Board of Ethics. Obviously, we all have our own personal opinions as to the form, but you still have to do it. So, please do, and please send a copy of your receipt to Larisha, just so we have, make sure that we're all in compliance. And do check the instructions. It makes it less onerous when you see all the things that don't need to be disclosed.
Yeah, the definitions are better this year.
Yeah.
They also have found a way, to the degree that you have to file for more than one position. They've combined them this year, so you can, kind of combine them and do them once rather than multiple times.
Which is great.
Is this the SDI you're talking about? The SDI.
Yeah, statement of economic interest, yes, absolutely. So if anyone didn't get that, please let us know, because we have to fill out a form, and whoever had to get it. Unless, of course, township officials of Illinois Lobby Day is coming up. It is, of course, on the 17th, right after our annual meeting. But you're all welcome to attend. Just let me know if you plan to go, to help to ensure good governance across the state, and hear from our fellow colleagues across the state. So, great.
In terms of compliance issues, on the cybersecurity, I know we had to do the major program, but now I'm getting emails, we have to do the mini courses.
The mini courses are optional, lots of fun, but optional.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, I actually was pretty happy with this year's. That was pretty interesting, but, and then I immediately started getting similar phishing attacks, that I was
Wow.
worried about, so.
Okay, thank you.
What about shipping?
I can't get into the cybersecurity. I tried different passwords and registration number, and it keeps bouncing me all around. It's become a total obstacle. How?
So HTML is your friend. So we will get you their phone number, if you don't already have it, to just call
Yes,
them.
I'd like the phone number.
For mine, it was like set up in the wrong email address.
I'm willing to take the course right here, and maybe Larisha can get me in, and I'll do the studying and I'll take the test, but I am not for lack of trying.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have difficulty getting in there?
I had difficulty getting in. I told Larisha, she had somebody call me and set it back up. I've had, and.
So I'm gonna call Larisha when she's back in the office.
Yep.
That's the number.
Oh, you know it by heart.
It's 1-800 so simple.
It's not so simple.
How they say it, it's so simple.
Love
Yeah, really.
Those digits, yeah.
Good.
So it's those digits, I don't remember.
Yeah, I will call them tomorrow. I'll call them.
Perfect.
I would love to join you for lobby day, but I have tickets to see Barry Manilow at Radio City Music Hall.
And that beats
If you
hanging out at the state library?
I love Troy, but
Yeah.
Barry Manilow before, you know,
I'm seeing him over the summer.
oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, financial reports. Oh, sorry, we missed, how did that get?
I'm sorry if you did that. You know.
Oh, I'm on the wrong agenda, that's why. Okay, please.
Okay, so to the board, you should have a paper copy and then we'll post it electronically for your approval this evening. And the agenda, you know, we're gonna have singers from Our Place, we're gonna have Travis again, and how appropriate at Our Place is being honored with the highest award there, the George E. Noyes Community Spirit Award. So I assume there will be many supporters of Our Place that will join us that night. It's kind of nice. We have, wow, the location. Finally, we get back to Glencoe.
Yeah, and good place.
I mean, wow, it's just gonna be, I think that will be exciting too, and Melanie has been helping, she's gonna put images of that in the new Courier, I mean, it's gonna be good. The other thing is I'm considering getting a flyer or postcard, not to mail anymore, we're not doing that, but to give to the award winners, to say, Elliot, since you're one of the stars here, you know, here's 20 flyers or postcards, just for your family and friends, because it's that special. The other thing, most of it is perfunctory, but let's see, but the agenda, what were some of the changes? We have a resolution there for consideration of the electors. And I'm assuming Gail, who is at the township attorney, will present that night, this resolution for the pay,
Yes.
okay, and so, okay, that'll be, and then the other thing is, I didn't know which trustee, Kate, you gave the presentation last year,
On it.
and I don't.
I gave
You gave,
first year.
I did a couple of years before that, I'm
Okay.
trying to figure it
who
out.
wants to do this?
It's either me or Elliot.
You wanna do it next year, is your swan song, Elliot?
I'll do next year, because it'd be odd to do the presentation and to get,
Okay.
that might be okay.
Unless you combined the two.
Seven, would you do it tonight?
Sure, I don't care.
Okay,
I don't know what to talk about, but
it's just the duties of the trustees and the work that you guys do, so that would be great.
I'll send you my script from last year.
Yeah, Kate had a good, I mean, it's all recorded. Okay, and then we'll have Gail beam me in like Star Trek, you know, with either beam me in or pre-recorded. And then just to go through the thing, Brian is very excited to do, well, as much as Brian gets excited, he's to talk about the peer jury and his appropriate in like 20 years. He has an excellent presentation, and I think the people that come would be interested in this kind of issue, restorative justice that you've concerned. So Brian is gonna give a presentation, and then we're gonna go right to the peer jury scholarships. And Elliot, you know, I'd ask that if you do it with Brian, it would be really nice for the, and then they're gonna read their essays, and I hope they have good ones this year.
Very good.
And I know you're considering 2 winners,
We're gonna-
so I'd like to have a flyer for those families to say, hey, come and support, even if it's just 5 people, but they're getting this really nice honor. And we'll have it all recorded, so in the future, you can tap on and see who were the peer jury winner. So Elliot's gonna meet there, and then I thought we'd go right into the Harriet Hahn Lifetime of Service. I worked with Harriet Hahn for years when I first started. She was such a delight. So Elliot, in your lifetime, like, get an award named after such a famous, wonderful person.
I could talk about her, she was exceptional, I worked with her on various things.
Oh, man, and I wanna give you the logic behind, we had a call out for submissions on things, and then we wanted to honor, some of the peer jury people, and Brian he was adamant that the only one that's huge, he said you've been a sidekick forever on the peer jury, and he really appreciates it, thought you were perfect for this honor. And then the final thing I'll just say, this is a great thing, Gil, got applications for the George E. Noyes Community Spirit, and wow, I think they will be fabulous.
I have a question though.
Yes.
We already gave Jane Gallagher, I'm not sure we gave her the George Noyes Award,
I think it was friend of the township person,
but, okay, my only point is we've already
yes.
acknowledged them previously. I don't mind acknowledging them again. I'm
It's
just
just
pointing
this
it out.
award, as you know, George Noyes, and you know the way Alan Goldberg would talk about George Noyes instead, well, for all their work and their connection with the township.
I'm not questioning the validity of the award, I'm just pointing out, we have given them
Right.
awards in the past.
Absolutely, and you know, one thing, if we're not we're not using the friend of the township this year. And one of the interesting things over the years, some years we skip things, add new ones, take them away. But those 2 are the most special, the George E. Noyes, and then we're gonna, Stephen will recognize retired member. So, Madam Supervisor, I'm asking for board approval of the agenda so we can post it, and that we need to unless you want to change it. And the change will be adding Stefan as the trustee.
So moved, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
And you'll want the name of the two, peer jury scholars too, as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, whenever they can, I don't know when he's.
I think we're gonna make that decision in the next 24 hours.
Oh, terrific. Okay, and then we'll just amend this and add in the two names.
Is there a theme to this year's annual?
I thought about, I had a theme thing on there and then I took it off. I was saying celebrating our 175th annual town meeting. Because it will start off that whole year, but I thought next year we would focus on, at the annual town meeting, we might have things about our history.
I just thought in terms of making a presentation, if that was
I
something.
could say it, in the thing theme would be, celebrating 100.
I'll talk to you, I'll call you.
Okay.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for your work on this, and we're really excited to use the Writers Theater, and thank Melanie for her work on that. We'll get this, posted. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, I will now call the question. All those in favor of approving the annual town meeting, agenda for 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it is approved. I think we can start advertising it. Any other update?
No, thank you. I am looking forward to this.
Wonderful. We were now in line for Sawyer Faldudo, but I'm not seeing them here. There was a woman who was here a moment ago. So I'll just go ahead and move to table the Sawyer Faldudo investment report. All those who, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Financial report, James Howard, you will become the host.
Great, good evening, everybody. Let me share my screen and then we'll walk through the fiscal year end, February 29th, 2024. Just a quick note, obviously tax monies are coming in. They came in late February into this month, which is the first installment or 55% of the prior year's extension. So we will see a bank balance higher than our fund balances. We have received some of that money, but remember that gets deferred into next fiscal year. Property taxes ended at 2% better than budget, 3.4 million collected there. And you can see we did really well in terms of our top line numbers. Replacement taxes in at 109,000, 9% better than budget. Interest, that was kind of our bright spot. 68,000 collected there. We quadrupled what we budgeted. So again, those investments did pay off in terms of additional revenue this year. Passport fees also beat 38,000 there. That was up from 12,000 budget, 318%. 3.7 million in revenue, 3.5 million was the target, so we were 4% better on the top line. As we go into expenditures, again, very nicely trending with the budget all year, under budget in total. You can see there our major categories of expense, agency programs at 98%, contractual services 77%. Building town hall, that was up just slightly. We know we had some unexpected maintenance there, 18% above budget, but not huge in terms of total dollars. And then again, pantry, we know we had some supplemental help from Angel Fund this year, but again, that's based on need. So we were up about 5% over budget, but all in nicely under. 3.4 million spent, 3.6 million is the budget. We were at 94% in total, and 94 and 95% respectively across town and GA. I wanted to point out, obviously, our structural fund balance additions and subtractions. You can see that we did what we set out to do with the budget. And again, we're going to be looking at that same methodology next year as we're bringing down that GA fund balance. You see it came down about 59,000 this year, and we added to the town fund. And again, all in, we look very good at 1.8 million, but again, we're working to get these percentages more in line with best practice, or about 6 months of fund balance to expenditure ratios.
A question on the pantry. So what you're telling us is we were 5% above the budgeted amount, plus the Angel Fund contributed additional 49,000.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay,
The 5% only relates to the township monies and the township budget.
Okay, just clarifying. Thank you.
Yep. In terms of our distribution, taxes at 94%, replacement tax 3, interest almost 2, passports 1. And then on the expenditure side, agencies 45%, childcare 4, projects 12, contractual 4.5, assessor 3, building town hall about 5%, financial assistance 9, pantry 3, personnel 12, elected officials 1. A nice beat on the top line in terms of the budget, under on expenditures. So again, a very good year in terms of our actual versus budget. Now, I won't go through all the line accounts. There are going to be some over, some under. But again, all in, we look very good. We won't draw any flags in terms of the audit. Some of these line accounts, you know, as we move forward now, we get to use these as trends to make sure that we have adequate budgets and adjust them accordingly for fiscal 25. Outside of that, I just want to go down to the very last page here to show the 2.4 million, again, above where we are in fund balance. Typically, those kind of mirror each other, but that's because you see the money that's come in into the BMO accounts. That's for, you know, property taxes. We see most of it in March, so that's where we'll have a really large balance. And we've already made some transfers back to the higher money market account that's earning the 3.5% in terms of the town fund. So, you know, again, we may be looking at talking to Sawyer Falduto about some more short-term investments. You know, on the investment front, you know, we're still, you know, have the inverted yield curve. The shorter stuff's paying better than the longer stuff. So it's really a good opportunity for us to invest some of this money short-term until we need it. The Fed has held on rates, but we just got a hot CPI number today. So, you know, the idea is that there will be cuts coming, but it doesn't look like it's going to be within the first half of the calendar year, and may even be pushed, you know, later into the calendar year. You know, they're saying now maybe 1 or 2 cuts. So again, we can take advantage of that. So, you know, as Sawyer Falduto comes out, that'll be kind of the mindset is, okay, now all our tax money's here. Let's move some over to Sawyer Falduto to get those short-term, very safe investments, returning that investment income once again this year in fiscal 25.
I have a question
Outside
on
of
that.
that,
Wait, there's a question.
Yep.
Please.
To express the current interest rate as various, I think is ambiguous at best. And somebody looking at it would go that, you know, you got a lot of money invested, $1 million in various. Is there any way to nail that down a little bit closer or a little more accurately?
The average is about
Oh,
5%.
yeah.
I understand
So
that. but
Sawyer
not saying-
Falduto provides a report as that couples our report that shows you your entire portfolio, all the investments and yields
No, I
that
understand
make
that.
up
I
that
know
dollar
that.
amount.
I know that. My question is, if somebody's taking a snapshot, then I guess it's okay to say refer to our other documents. I just wondered if
Yeah,
there's some way to express it approximately or some kind of a little bit more breakdown. That's all I'm asking.
What if we put an asterisk after both of the various, and then put an asterisk, like a footnote below?
Yeah,
That
something.
please refer to the, you know, then current investment portfolio report.
Yeah, I think
Would that be okay, James? Can you do that?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet.
Wonderful, thank you. Wonderful. And thank you for getting us these numbers, because without, you know, being able to close out February, it really makes it impossible for me to provide, you know, an accurate budget workbook and therefore get the budget out in time. And, you know, having these months closed out quickly has been a huge help to us. So thank you so much for your expeditious work.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other questions for James? All right. Would you mind giving me power back, sir?
Sure.
I'm just checking, so you're those here.
Okay, coming back.
Okay. Verification of claims, trustee Moser.
I move to verify the expenses for the period of February 1st, 2024 to February 29th, 2024, as presented in today's financial report and presented to the board on March 12th, 2024, today's date.
Second.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
You wanna,
Supervisor Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Cassell McNally,
Yes.
trustee Robbins,
Yes.
trustee Moser.
yes,
Trustee Ruby.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
I have a form, I'll sign and send it around.
I'm not sure if we should print this yet. Did we give you one of these?
Oh,
No?
I know.
We'll put it forward there. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Assessment report, Dan.
Yes, I don't really have this, the 2023. The assessor's gone to a format of, besides having the, forms available online, it's a composite form and has been since last year. He sends out these either booklets or postcards, depending on how many, people they're going to. That cover all of the different types of exemptions. They go out on a time schedule now every year and have they have a due date, but the point of the due date is to get it back in time so that the information can be processed in time to appear on your tax bill. It isn't so that, it isn't a deadline that if you don't get it in within the time frame, you've lost it forever or have to go through any rigmarole. Just they will not guarantee getting it on your tax bill if you don't get it in their deadline, which is tight, it's 30 days. But the booklets began going out last week, and the major one, I think major in terms of complexity, it's all of the senior parts. It's the senior exemption, it's the senior freeze. And so people are beginning to come in with that because nobody can find the form on the assessor's website. It's not exactly intuitive. They look at different places and they find different things. They look at forms. That's a good idea. You might find a form under a form. Well, you won't find that form under forms. So don't look there for it.
Is there any further clarification to the senior exemptions that they just dropped unilaterally?
What happens is, the most common example will be somebody passes away.
Okay, that would make sense.
The
Right,
the exemptions are gone.
right.
You need to reapply. A large part, not a large part, but an ongoing part of it always has been, they simply don't get the information processed. And since we are not yet hooked up altogether to the new system, and they did not run the old system in parallel because Mr. Kagi couldn't be bothered to do that, we can look at the old system all day long and not find anything on it. So we just say, we'll help you find, just do it again. It's probably the safest way.
Well,
And
you don't know that
done,
it's happened.
done.
You don't know that it's happened until you get the bill, correct?
No, but even so, once you get your tax bill, if you lose your exemptions, which is a separate issue from if you did, you turned in your exemptions or you got them last year and they disappear. I mean, they can disappear for a variety of reasons, and God knows we don't know what they are. But we can help you get a corrected tax bill. And of course, if you were entitled to the exemption, you are always entitled to the exemption running back still to 2018 for now. And it's just more paperwork to get refunds and things like that, but it still gets done.
And if you're a senior, for example, and you get your bill and you don't realize that you're no longer getting the exemption, then you go without. And not only do you have to get the bill, you have to notice that I'm entitled to this exemption.
We tell people now, we started because everybody, where is it? How do I know whether it's there? And of course, we always get a slew of calls in the early part of the year from people who got the first tax bill, which has no information on it. That's just, you all know that is 55% of the previous year's bill. We always get a flurry of calls in February from people, where did my exemptions go? Well, don't worry about it. You're not supposed to be seeing them yet. It will show up on the yellow bill later. And then, and we always say, and if they're not there, let us know because we can help you get them back in time to get a corrected bill. There's always a cutoff, again, because of that, if someone wants to refile an exemption, that goes to the assessor's office. So if you send it to the assessor's office, the assessor has to be able to process the information and get it through to the treasurer for you to get a corrected bill. So there is a time limit on when that is a practical thing to do. It simply can't, after a certain amount of time, the treasurer simply can't generate the bill in time for you to pay it on time. But they will tell you that. We usually say, give it about 2 weeks. If you're in here within 2 weeks, we can probably get it done.
And if you don't get it at all, you can file a
Then
certificate of
you
error.
just file certificates of error to get refunds for it, yeah. So it's just more paperwork, but it's not gone ever.
Thank you.
The thing I think that frustrates people the most is that they know they've done it in the past. They didn't notice that it disappeared.
Right.
And they can't seem to get it to stick. When they do it again, it keeps disappearing.
Thank you.
Eventually, maybe he'll be done, and eventually he'll tell us if he's
Maybe.
done. Maybe,
Maybe.
yes. Or another assessor may be finishing it up. We have no idea. He doesn't tell us.
But the fact that that exemption affects seniors disparately or unduly, I mean, Fritz has got to know that it's just not right. That seniors, whether it's AT&T or the county of Cook or Comcast or a bank or a credit card company, they will take advantage unless you tell them. It's as simple as that. I don't trust.
I might agree, and God knows he's been told enough that it's important. But again, whether that translates into effective action is not something we know about. I mean, he does not tell us.
Well, they did change the disability exemption, didn't they, to make it theoretically?
The veterans with disabilities or the
So one-
regular disabilities, the 70%.
Saying you don't have to recertify?
Yes, yeah, right,
So-
that is a change now for veterans who qualify for 70% or over disabled. You used to have to redo it every year in case something changed. They have now taken the stand that if you're more than 70% disabled and a senior, which of course is most of it, it's very unlikely that it's going to change except for the worst.
Right.
So you do not have to keep reapplying once you get a certification, and those people, they don't have to pay property taxes at all. They're done. That's the state of Illinois' gift to veterans who've been that badly disabled in the service of their country, and you don't pay property taxes anymore.
But perhaps the Assessors Association might want to champion similar legislation for seniors.
We try. That's a tough one. Because there has the reason is there has to be a parameter. They're never going to not have seniors paying property taxes.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
You're not gonna get any younger. Once you become a senior,
You're not supposed to have to read.
Oh, you're saying they're falling off. Got
Yeah,
it.
it falls off.
Got it.
But they know it's their problem.
Okay.
That doesn't help the people who have to keep filing and get frustrated because they say, I know I did it. Yes, and we believe you did it, and you probably thought you did it right, and it went into the whole of the assessor's office, and just do it again, don't worry about it, you will get it, and again, you're not losing your money. You may not, you may have to get a refund for it, but they don't, it's not like it's going to be docked because it took you a year to get it back or whatever. The people who have a problem, of course, I think, are the people who are running on a very tight fixed budget. And if they have a problem paying their taxes, what they get scared that if let's say they're even late on their taxes, that their home is going to go up on tax sale. Well, it's not going up for several years. Now, the thing I think would be very nice, and we do talk about it, and hopefully there's a pathway, is to limit or eliminate interest and penalties for late payments for people who can prove that they did their best and it was his fault that their exemptions disappeared. And so don't penalize those people. But that, again, that's got to be legislation. So that's got a long pathway to travel, because no other county has that problem.
So you were proposing an IGA also between us and Northfield? If you want to propose
Well, it's
that?
not us, it's the assessor's offices.
Okay, so we don't have to approve it?
I don't think you do, no. I mean, I sent it to you, so you can have it.
I signed it.
But our name is on it. It's the township, it's listed as the township.
It is, yeah.
It's not listed as the assessor's office.
well, that's the reason you have it that way. I can change that if you
Yeah.
want. I used the form
Well-
that was given to me from another township.
Yeah.
So, okay, I will do that.
Well, and I mean, I do want identification for our township.
Yeah, if somebody's in the building, then we need identification. And we should also frankly have our brand spanking new council review it.
Yes, so was this created by Northfield or was this created?
No, it was created by one of the other townships. And I asked, that assessor to send it to me,
Okay,
so we
Well,
can do it. So it.
why don't we send it over to Ross?
Well, Northfield's, attorney has vetted it.
Oh, which is also our attorney. So, that's you.
Oh, okay, okay.
I was gonna offer
No,
to
it's
slip
different.
across.
Even better. No, they cleared it.
Yeah. So then we should just have it changed.
No, I think it needs to be us. I don't think,
Why?
so I don't think that they can contract.
Why not?
It's a good question.
We're not,
But only-
we are not party to
I
this,
thought only the board can contract.
but we're not party to this.
Because the assessor's office is
The
separate.
assessor's office is a
Okay,
is a total.
Can you provide a revised version,
Well, that simply not substitutes that,
that limits the parties to?
replaces,
Yeah.
right, that replaces township with township assessor's office instead, is that?
Yes.
New Trier Township Assessor's.
Right, but I do, and.
Just
and
New Trier Township assessor.
Office, I mean, as where in this
Exactly.
place it is years.
Northfield can be whatever Northfield wants to be,
Right, but you're right.
but
Right.
if you're gonna sign this and it's gonna be about you, about the town, the assessor's office, then that needs to be the entity that is
That's fine.
named in the top, and then,
Yeah.
change throughout. And we do have, and because somebody is theoretically gonna be in this building, then on page 4, we need to be, the township needs to be indemnified.
Yep.
For. Russell,
Yep, exactly.
just tell Russell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fabulous, thank you.
Section 3, sorry, that's what that was.
No vote being necessary.
Not 4-3, because I didn't bring my copy in with me.
Sorry, section 3
3,
is where
right.
the township needs to be indemnified.
Okay. That's
I want to compliment the assessor about your enthusiasm for the mundane and nuances of being the assessor in your office. That's really cool. So I've listened over the years, I love Janet, when you love functions. Very nice.
I think being functional is a good thing. Yes, thank you.
But I'm just theorizing, a lot of people wouldn't want to do all the detail work that you do in that. Sure, every time I hear residents talk about township, the first time the assistants of the assessor's office and the board should all, if you probably all heard the same thing, but it's like the assessor's office and the food thing. So,
And
We're now in line for public comment.
We're not gonna approve,
We are not.
so strike that from the agenda.
yeah, Larisha left it there, because, she thought it was, I agreed with her that it was safer to have it in
Absolutely.
because you couldn't take it out, I mean, you can say you don't need to do it, but you couldn't say we should have done it and we didn't
True.
put a place in to do it, so that's why it's there.
Okay. Any public comments? Seeing none. I'm switching with myself to host so I can share screen.
While you're doing that, we had, at our seats when we arrived, a new copy of the budget. And I'm just wondering if that is different from the copy that we already received. It
I
looks
do
like
not
there
believe
are.
Where are you looking?
This is the copy that was in my
Mhm.
board packet, and then this was in my seat.
The numbers are a little different.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
Awesome.
This is probably post, James reviewing it. So yes. All right, so taking a look, walking through it, I added at the top for our purposes here, just so we can see our starting numbers at the end of this fiscal year. We still have about $1 million in the town fund and about 900 in the general assistance fund. So just keep that in mind as we go through. Property taxes are based on the ordinance that we passed as a board earlier this year. When did we do that?
Yep.
Exactly, so I did link that, great. If you recall, a few months ago, I mentioned that personal property replacement taxes was going to decrease substantially. So this is the number that we've been told we can bank on, 93. Our interest earned, I'm gonna, still assume that we're gonna do well, but a little bit more conservative there. Other income is, if you recall, we've always had questions about what that meant. That is our Torma dividend. So thank you, Torma. And it's been about the same every year. Okay, so that gives us our revenue numbers for town fund and GA fund. So keeping that in mind, the next step, the agency programs are all set in stone because that is what we have already approved. You will notice that I added in to Glencoe Youth, to Haven's number, the warming house number. So that's why that number is going to look a little different. Similar, we do the same thing with Glenkirk. We add things together because then we write one check. Family counseling is, even though it's always been in our budget as family counseling, is Family Service Center Glencoe. Family Service Wilmette is Family Service Center now in Northfield, and Family Service Winnetka is the counseling center of the North Shore. So when we've been funding them for so long, they've have gone through some name changes. Similarly, JJ's list is now search and has been for a bit. I've also added into the North Shore Senior Center line item, the export and transport program. That one's a little confusing because theoretically it could also be under transportation, but because we're going to cut the checks with the agency programs, figured that was the most efficient. You have received an updated agency funding sheet from Steve. It's in your board packet. We went through these before I entered them into the budget to ensure that we were using the accurate numbers. And they do appear to be accurate, so that sheet does still have incorrect years in it, so we know what it meant. But yes, we do want to make sure we are having accurate public information. All right. So here's where we're starting to get into differences. 51, childcare services. You'll note that I moved childcare services to the general assistance fund. And that is because under the new public act that we passed last year, thank you to our fabulous legislators, we can now use general assistance funds for services that are permitted under the township code. We will have to pass a policy allowing us to do this. But essentially my proposal is going to be that we are permitted as a board to use general assistance for programs that have a financial need, so that it is always still about assistance to those who are most in most crisis financially.
Do you want to have a vote on that now?
I don't have the policy in front. I like wrote it up, but I didn't finish it. So give me a moment, but it's there, and that's going to be so that you're ready for that. We'll just do that as a part of our budget passage. Because just as a reminder, this is the worksheet. We'll ultimately take these entries and put them into a formal budget that will then post for and allow people to come and chat with us at our May meeting.
What's our deadline for passing is May meeting?
No, it's got to be the first order, I believe it is. Yeah. Whatever it is, we were complying, and I'm very excited about it. But as long as we have an acting budget, the township continues. Yep.
Do you want to get through the whole thing and then entertain questions?
No, I think if you have questions on childcare services, this would be the time. And these numbers were created in consultation with Jeannie.
Sweet. So in looking at the page 6 of 9 of Jane's presentation earlier, these have been underutilized this year, all three of them. The daycare scholarships, to the tune of 72%. And I'm just wondering, I think that we absolutely fund these services. I'm just wondering if it makes sense, where we have, more than $20,000 that was kind of left on the table this year between all three of them, if it makes sense to adjust any of those numbers.
So it really depends on the year. We've increased these numbers, in our board, we're on year three now, this board. I'm reticent to change them down. We can always not spend them, and we still, obviously, every person is vetted and applies and goes through Genie. It's not that many kids, that's the difference, right? So I like having that wiggle room.
And now that it's in GA especially,
Right, so it's not gonna be as a drain or anything on the budget.
Okay.
But I appreciate the question. I would much prefer that we do a better job telling people that they use and use them, because I think though we're doing a better job of making sure people know about our programs. Yeah, we saw what happened with the food pantry when we went to the seniors, low-income senior communities and said, hey, don't forget about us. They had. Okay, but that does lead us to transportation services, which have been extremely underutilized. Part of that is, yes.
Just a quick, on the summer camp scholarships, we had 75,000, and then you're gonna go to 78,000. So you're
Yes,
increasing it even though you had a net loss.
yes, this was based on Genie's recommendation.
Okay. I mean, yeah, okay.
I'm happy to switch it back to
Just
75. I
confirm.
I don't feel strongly, because I do think that ultimately we will use what we end up using, and we'll probably be within that budget. So there, I have changed that, in my worksheet here.
we were within 6%, we almost get 70,000 out of 75 budgeted. That's 5-6%.
Right.
It's within the margin of error.
Okay. So dial-a-ride, we are proposing a slight decrease. Part of that is we have a number of books out, so coupon books for dial-a-ride. And if you have one, you can't get more. And people just aren't using taxis as much. We aren't seeing as much use on that program, because if you recall, we did increase who could use dial-a-ride. And we're still not seeing people use it.
Bill, is it possible to add Lyft newer in that? or is
So-
it contractual?
It is a contractual issue. We do have a contract providing that. We have a Lyft program actually through the township, but it is specifically to get people to services that aren't provided within the walking distance. So for instance, when we have homeless individuals present in the township, which has been happening more frequently, we have been helping them get a lift to get to the respite center, which is actually in Niles Township, or to the living room, which is Jocelyn, right? So where people can address acute needs.
Am I recalling correctly that dial-a-ride is just one way?
You were thinking Mobility Plus, the next
Okay.
line. Mobility Plus is subsidized transportation for those who are in either a wheelchair or some sort of other device. And it has not been used much. One person used it. I'd still like to keep some there. Perhaps we will get more as people, learn about it. I'm also, the escorted transport program is not going to be fitting that need, right? And that's going to be just for people who don't have mobility issues, because it is volunteer based. So we still may, we might have people who call escorted transport, find that they can't get service, and then they can be sent to Mobility Plus. We are looking for a grant for that program. Last year we did not get it, sadly, but hoping in the future.
You mentioned that for dial-a-ride, we have a number of coupon books out.
Mm-hmm.
Do
We
we
don't pay
know how many, if all of those show up back on our doorstep tomorrow,
Good point.
what do we owe?
Good point. I do not know that.
I think it's important that we know that before we finalize this number.
Good point. All right, peer jury. Oh, sorry, we're in other projects now, proposing the same 1,500 for the scholarship. Back to school supplies, a slight decrease, given our usage was closer to 30,000. We were at 26, so, splitting the difference here just in case we see additional need. We are not using our retirement funds line. That was when we had that little scare. We thought we needed to throw money into our IMRF numbers and turned out to not be a necessity. That line exists if we need it. Community support grants, I'm proposing a $10,000 increase.
I have a question on that.
Mhm.
I noticed in Jeannie's report that the number of applicants is down this year. So we're gonna be down in terms of applications. Do we just take the number and divide it by the number of applications that
We
there
do.
are? So it doesn't really matter, correct?
Well, it depends on, so yeah, when we find out the number, I've been coming to the board and saying, this is what I'd like
Right,
to do.
14,000,
Right,
right.
exactly. And then we approve that number.
But the
So, yes.
point I'm making is we're down on number of applicants, but you're raising the
Yes.
total budget, so people just get the benefit of a larger check this year, because there's less
Well,
people.
this is for next year. This is next year.
And what those
I meant
applicants
extra.
are using the funds for presumably
Getting more expensive.
have gone up with inflation and maybe even at a higher rate if they're medically related.
Okay.
Arguably. And then again, there's a chance that we'll have a.
Exactly.
larger-
It's not that many grants for the wiggle. So here is, it probably, yeah,
Sorry, before we flip the page and start talking about what we're gonna talk about. Peer jury,
yeah,
I know that we're doing scholarships this year.
Yep.
To the, what is that amount gone to in the past? That's
It is
not
only
been scholarships, it's only been scholarships.
yes. It was always a little bit confusing, but yes, it is. That
So it's
money,
not peer jury funds, it's
No.
peer jury scholarships.
There was a period of time earlier in the peer jury where there was also a small stipend that was budgeted for, I don't wanna say treats, but for nourishment.
it's still in there, it's later.
Yeah, but we haven't
It's in the
really,
median section.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we really haven't been offering anything to that. Sometimes they.
Well, they're not here, there aren't a lot of cases.
Oh, they're here. I mean, even if there isn't a case, they come and we do training like this they're here.
Okay, so which brings me to my second point. I emailed Elliot and Brian yesterday and I asked for the number of cases that peer jury has seen over the last 5 years and how those cases have kind of gone. So like 2019, 10 cases initiated, 7 fully resolved, 1, withdrawn by the youth offender, 2 continuing into the next year. I want to get a longitudinal concept of what this program has been, because I feel like I just don't know that I really understand where we are on this. And I think I just would like to see.
Brian does tabulate that and he has, you can go back, way back in time.
Okay.
The program hit a bump in the road with the pandemic.
Right.
We just weren't getting the cases and, the police departments weren't charging the kids. And now we're back in the saddle, not steadily with increasing numbers, but with more numbers than we had. So if you want to look at the program, I would suggest a wider spectrum than the last 5 years.
Okay.
Ask Brian for
Yeah,
all the data.
it's in your email box.
Yeah.
Thank
Because
you.
The pandemic was difficult for the program. There were about 3 years of drastically reduced caseload.
Oh, we know, yes, but I appreciate the look.
Yeah.
We've discussed whether or not the township is the right home at this point in its history, right?
I don't know who else would do it.
Parents are paying for their kids to get out of trouble. It doesn't make sense
But
to
parents
be
should,
doing this. Oh,
We
I will
want
fight that
all
with you all day.
I know.
Absolutely, I'm in your corner. I'm just saying the realities of where this community tends to be right now. I don't know that we are meeting the best use of the time and energy and effort and funds of the township by doing this. And if we wanted to change the system and, have it be a, restorative justice education program, then that's a different thing, but you know, going after the, you know, out to the police and the schools and trying to get people to buy into this hasn't been working for 2 years. And it's a bigger conversation, I know, but maybe we just start with the numbers and see where we are.
Kate, how much of Brian's present salary is devoted to peer jury?
That becomes a part of this
That's
conversation.
the only cost. There's no cost to the youth.
Right, but didn't he tell us that he's retiring and that's why we're sloping down his stuff?
I think he wants to continue on with you.
He will discuss, yeah.
Okay.
So, in any case.
But he has the data, he has 3 decades worth of it.
Okay, great, it's in his email box, I'll look forward to the numbers.
It's gone like this.
Yep. I know.
I would say it's gone like this.
It's not. Sorry.
It's, I mean, you did, Stefan, we were probably like this, then we went like this, and now we're,
We'll look at the data.
Yeah.
Yeah, no need to speculate.
yeah, but,
Alright, so what will probably be the most change that I put into this budget is the Oakton Scholarship. We've done $20,000 the last 2 years. This was our trial period. We have, what I'm proposing as a part of this change to the general assistance fund is to endow the scholarship. So this would be a $100,000 endowment, which would allow us to disperse $5,000 in awards for perpetuity without further expenditures by further boards. We currently have 24,000 in our account, and we have awarded, $11,000 in scholarships last year. And I will say that the Oakton program has been wonderful. They sent thank you notes from each of the scholarship recipients. You know, gave me full numbers and transparency. I've been very impressed with the process.
Would Oakton handle the
They
endowment?
would.
Would they be responsible for any tax implications?
I will double check. That's a good question.
What's the criteria? Let's help.
It is financial need in Winnetka Township.
quick question, I wanna make sure I understand it, so we invest 100,000 at 5% or something like that, and then that yields $5,000 per year. So technically, on an annual basis, we're cutting way back.
But we can always do additional single expenditures, but this would allow us to have it available.
But we wouldn't have to invest it. We give them a check and they do their thing, and we don't have to touch it ever again.
Well, what happens to the principal? Who retains the?
That's what he asked. Oakton would handle it.
Yep, Oakton does the whole thing.
And would they be required to hold on to that principal, so this carried on, or could they spend down the principal?
No, they can't spend on the principal.
I didn't know.
And at the end of when would the perpetuity?
Never.
Perpetuity.
It's the sign that goes like that. I suppose we all do closing, but there are, and, you know, we can get the agreement. You know, we would not be the only township to have done this, and obviously they have plenty of endowed scholarships.
Better call Ross.
But we can call Ross, yeah.
But can that 100,000 be, in terms of budgeting, can that be allocated over a period of years, or is it all in one?
I'm proposing to do it at once. At this point, we have in general assistance, 894,000. And with our expected revenues, we'll be at 1,339,706. I think this is the opportunity to kind of get our GA fund into kind of the right levels. So that we're, you know, it's about spending down that and it's doing it in a way that will ultimately benefit students with financial needs in the township.
You're not intending to transfer any money from the general fund, then you feel you have enough in,
This would all be from GA.
but you don't need additional funds in GA, you feel you have enough? But I noticed you put the pantry in GA too.
It did, but I have done that for the last few years. That was already a change.
The
They were,
115,000 came out of GA?
it did.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an earlier legislative.
Okay.
Thank you, Don.
Can trustees, can we get, copies of these, of the feedback, so we can see who the money's going to and what, how the applicants have responded? I have no idea who's been getting this.
Send scholarship.
Since we started the scholarship, we'd love to see who got the scholarships and the wonderful responses that they give.
Absolutely, I'll scan those tomorrow.
And those might be good speakers that are next annual.
Yeah.
Oh, not a bad idea.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Good idea. New program funds. Oh, so the biggest new program fund. So this is, I haven't gotten approval for this is my plan. SAFE program. So Northwest Compass has a program out of the police department. So when a homeless individual presents at a police department, they get called in and do a full intake, full wraparound services, put them up in a hotel. It's $5,000 per police department. What I have offered them was $5,000 for New Township, because none of our current police departments feel that they have enough need to do the program themselves. This would be to aggregate the usage, so that it does make sense to offer this in our community.
So who are you gonna offer it to?
This would be for all the police stations
All
in
of
New Township.
What did you use the 15,000 for last year?
The new program fund?
Yeah,
Oh, that was, solar.
is that what used to be referred to as POTS?
Yes.
So we're using
Projects of
POTS
township-
funds to put in solar?
Projects of township significance. I believe that is a township significant
Okay.
project.
Has the solar been put in?
It finally got approved by Winnetka, thank you.
It took a minute.
So once it finally did get approved, then it was snowing, so it is going in a few weeks. But everything's been approved, all the electrical works, apparently not that easy.
Because we know she's listening, thank you, Larisha.
Absolutely.
Who will be the beneficiary of the power created?
Everybody breathing in.
We're not gonna have to pay the grid.
It'll go to the township.
It will,
Okay.
I believe if we have excess, we can sell it back. I don't believe that will work, but we'll find out.
But it'll go to township heating and cooling.
Exactly.
Let's
So then I left some significant new program funds as our wiggle room, right? But as you know, we have added, some more specifics as to how that can be sought by nonprofits that miss the agency process. And that is now on our website.
I have a question on, how do you decide which one a new program, how do you decide what comes out of the town fund and what comes out of GA?
So I'm only proposing for the GA fund at 5,000 for the
Right.
state program, because it is by definition for people who are making under poverty.
But somebody has to come in with a new program.
That's why I put the rest of the new program funds in town fund, because it's more likely to be an agency program.
There's a much bigger question, but as it relates to the GA, I'll wait, that's okay, I'll come back to it.
Okay. Sponsored meetings, I kept the same. And that is where we have our pure jury $250 pizza fund that we did not use. These people are worried. No, I know we had a lot of candy for a while, so I hope they eat up. Printing and publishing, I am proposing that we keep it as it is, even though we didn't spend the full amount, because we do think we will have increased costs next year on printing. So that, is always a concern.
What are we, that's a dumb question. What are we printing?
Almost all of
That's
the printing is courier.
And is this the right place to have that? And not in the courier, courier bucket? Like, isn't there
The courier fund is.
Yeah.
right now just, what's it called, postage.
Okay,
Yes, it is confusing.
so are we comfortable that the only thing that we're printing,
So it's also Pitney Bowes. So that's our
our printer,
our printer. And every time we go over our allotment, it ends up increasing our price. One of the reasons why we have decided that our default is not printing. And if you should desire a printed board packet, you must request one. Because board.
but we didn't
board-
use $10,000 of it last year, $9,000 of it last year.
But it doesn't mean that we need to have it at that high number.
Doesn't mean that we need to endow with scholarship at Oakton, but yeah, we're doing that. So, all right. So printing and publishing is all together.
It is.
Um,
I guess theoretically, we have published other things like the history.
And other things, like, for example, the flyer I was talking about, it won't be expensive, but for goodness sake, we should have a nice flyer to give to the award recipients, to give to their neighbors.
Yes,
And that would be a printing and publishing issue. I mean,
yeah, we have, limited our paper as most governments have as much as we can.
What's your reservation?
She wants
I'm-
annotated.
I'm-
Annotated.
I am just trying to be a, good steward of township dollars and make sure that things are in the right bucket and things are making sense.
I still feel that we live in a time where a lot of our townships, a lot of the residents in this community, especially seniors, they don't go to the website, even though it's important that we be electronic and our website be robust and detailed and transparent. And I still think a lot of people learn more about what's going on and what programs they might be able to get involved in from the old fashioned mailing, so.
Oh, no, I love it. I love the mailing. I'm not saying cut the budget. I'm just saying, I wanna make sure that it's in the right place. Cause we just spent like all this time a few months ago, making sure that the Angel Fund Committee is the right place. And I just wanna make sure that the Courier Committee should not have legally control of their printing costs in addition to their postage costs.
Right.
I just wanna make sure that that's.
What is the justification again for separating the postage and the print
If you recall, the postage is because of the nonprofit rate.
nonprofit rate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we get a nonprofit rate for the printing? That's, I don't know. I literally, I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer to that.
So it's,
We go to the printer and say, we are a nonprofit.
We're a nonprofit.
Sending out a nonprofit publication.
and we have a form, don't we have it doesn't,
But we don't tax, no, yeah, that's a separate issue. This is directly from the postal services, right?
So one's a federal agency, the other is private industry. And
We are getting a nonprofit rate actually for the.
fantastic, for the Writers Theater.
For the Writers Theater.
I can't believe it.
there we go.
And their normal rate was ginormous. Okay.
But we got a very nice
But
rate.
they appreciate the work count, so.
Yes,
I was
thank you very
surprised,
much.
is it within the budget for next year, is it within that number? We budgeted 1,000 for next year.
You know what's interesting, Ella, when I first started, 13 years ago, we had $8,000. And the public went ballistic, but it was all,
We had expensive.
but it was all accounting. It was the people say, they took all the expenses, the annual, everything was under annual town meeting. I was like, huh? And then eventually, I was the one that suggested we eliminate the separate brochure that saved out. Now that's the courier, but just the background, it's really amazing that people went crazy and we hardly spent anything. And we just, a few $100s on a location and sometimes, some treats, but it was all fake controversy.
Yeah, of course, and we could see that again, in next month.
We're all
We already are.
we're very low budget and quality, but I don't wanna get lower than that. I wanna be able to have a nice venue and some treats and
One of the detractors already posted. Now,
and we're saving by not sending out invitations.
Gail, you're gonna be virtual next month.
Right, but let's continue through. Website maintenance. Okay, so this is a contract renewal. We know the exact number. It has gone up and not crazy, for Civic Plus. This does include our webmaster. So I've now gotten rid of the webmaster line because that was confusing me. Next year, so again, thank you, Larisha, and Quality Negotiation. We want to add encrypted forms to the website. And again, a part of our decrease in paper, but we want to make sure we're doing so in a way that protects people's personally identifiable information. especially after our mandatory, cybersecurity training that scared our pants off. So Civic Plus has agreed to waive this year's fees, but next year we will need to budget for that, encrypted forms. Assumedly, if we decide that we don't like them or don't use them, we would not renew.
But it was, if you spent almost 14,000 already, and you're only asking for 14,500, is that 500 for the encrypted forms?
The forms is for next year. Next year's we're not. So this year they waived the entire cost.
So it's not in this budget?
It's not in this budget. I'm just keeping that,
Okay.
keeping you posted that it's not free forever.
Okay.
Well, we won't have spent $100,000. But that's different funds. So anyway, keep in mind. So this is a major increase here. This is a new line, civic clerk, and I will let our clerk.
Okay, thank you, Madam Supervisor. So the board should know that Larisha was extremely helpful. She always did. She roped me into a training session that was fabulous. And I've been doing this a long time, but that will make the job, I mean, things like this, struggling with the Civics Plus clerks program is fantastic. I mean, at first I said, we don't need this, but Larisha had me work with them. They make so many changes to just everything, minutes, form, FOIA, but it's like much, not just easier, it's like more succinct. It's like,
In lieu of the clerk's position or in addition?
well, it's not like they're doing the work for it, but the forms that they use are amazing. It's like you slide over, and even I was convinced, and I'm still a dinosaur in technology, but I was really impressed.
It allows you to take the agenda, convert it to minutes quickly, add hyperlinks to the various forms.
And one thing I really like about that is I'll work more closely with Gail on the agenda. I'll tell her, these items, it's just like you shift back.
Oh, yeah, what do you? Oh, that's good.
This is what the villages are using these days to easily and quickly be able to not only do things in-house, but then upload them so that everybody can see them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is, I think of it being part of the, kind of moving the board and moving the township into kind of.
But not in lieu of the clerk or.
No.
No, it's
It's a tool that he can use.
Yeah.
Yes, and it
It's
will.
not a person.
it
so when
does
you ask
help.
about help, this will help me a lot, I assure you. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
And especially when we're preparing for board meetings, it takes a lot of Marisha's life. Preparing those packets, when in this way, each staff member can simply upload it to the program and it'll get entered into the agenda. So it'll automate, just modernize, and hopefully be more transparent and quick.
The proposal the approval for this is coming up in 3 agenda items, so.
And I've seen some of the transcripts, for example, from whatever the program is here, the software we have here that condenses the thought, it's like a dragon thing, it's simple, I don't know, the voice navigations. And those are not quite up to snuff. Have you seen some of the results? It's all automated and it's almost the amount of time it takes to go through it and figure out what was said actually. So we want to make sure if we use technology like this, that it's cutting edge and that it's all the glitches are out of it.
Ellie, you remember that one where we had the transcript of the session closed? It was horrible.
I've read.
But that wasn't, this is offering something different, like Kate said, it's
Oh,
It's
more
not voice.
succinct on actual things, it's not about that. And it still has the clerk do the job, but it just, the tools are amazing.
Understood.
Got it. Okay. So we
That
actually,
voice thing gave you a transcript that's absolutely inappropriate for minutes, it was like everything everyone said.
Wasn't,
In the skill is to say what, what's.
but it was compliant, so. that
Oh,
was
yeah,
good.
I know.
All right, postage. So I am separating out the courier fund from regular postage because essentially, because the courier fund is a separate nonprofit, it will treat them as if it's get an agency allocation, and they then pay for postage. So postage last year was 4,200, so I am suggesting 5,000 in recognition that the Postal Service keeps increasing their price. Even though we are getting a fabulous deal on it. So that's that. So that's essentially the same amount, just separated out. Legal, I'm keeping that at 5,000. As you can see, we had 0 there. That makes no sense. We used
Right.
Jim. I requested the invoice. I said we have to have it by the end of February. We have not received an invoice. I don't know if it's coming, but just keep an eye on that.
How did he, respond to the?
He did not,
Okay, so we made that get anyway.
so. But there's been a lot of, complications at the firm, so,
It is from.
yeah.
Okay.
Auditing, we had an extra cart charge last year, because of the assessor questions, related to the EIN. So we're hoping that we do not need that same additional cost, but we will have to do this silly inventory thing with, Kroll, where they fill out a form about every item we own. And they discuss the appreciation, but, so we're at that year, so, I'm recommending 18,000. Consulting, at 35, that was the recommended number from HTML. Yes,
How's that different from website maintenance?
so this is HTML, not Civic Plus. So HTML, right, doing our IT,
Gotcha.
our cybersecurity, and it does, so that's the managed service provider, cloud hosting, so all of our documents, and the voice over internet, so the telephone, which is why telephone is now at 0, because it's all part of the same thing. We had separated it out. That proved untenable for the accounting, because HTML was sent the same invoice thing, and it was impossible to tell. So this will help, our poor Tim. All right, contract hire, our sustainability coordinator for next year is about 3,000, 3% share. The other things that we use this for is, getting essentially temp workers. We use Fiverr or similar programs to get, agency committee meeting minutes done. And we'll also include the interns, which we do pay, at, minimum wage. Communications, this was like a leftover random line that doesn't actually, we don't use, and therefore it was confusing. That's why there's a random $89 charge. So we're just gonna delete that. Outreach events, we have not been using that full 10,000. I do think 5,000 still encourages Melanie to get out there and use it, while recognizing, truth and budgeting.
And in that line, Larice says, we're contacted by the Cook County Clerk's Office. They want to do programs on how to plan for your death, and it's fantastic. I mean, that would be an event so appropriate for our work. So I just want that.
Yeah,
But we
estate
need
planning,
money.
yeah, right. So, but that will be so our mental health, intergovernmental program will be a part of that. We have a number of cool outreach events coming up, but they're usually pretty low cost. If you recall, we had been doing more, like having tables at sidewalk sales and things like that. And we proved that very few people came to that. So Melanie hasn't been. Instead, she's been tabling at the libraries during actual office hours. And I would like to continue to encourage that kind of outreach rather than sidewalk sales. So who knows, we might bring it back. Even when we were partnering with the treasurer's office to find money, people didn't come to the table. So again, I'm deleting these lines, because we have, combined them with other areas. Our accountant.
Sorry, where did digitization go?
Digitization was, because now we have this Secretary of State's office, has done a major purge and is not necessary at this point.
So we're done with digitization?
No, we're still going through documents. We have a new intern that was in Marisha's report who's helping us to purge, but we're not ready for any kind of digitization until we've gotten rid of all the paper that can be gotten rid of.
Okay.
Is a new internship a paid or unpaid?
This one is an unpaid during the school year, volunteer opportunity. During the summer is a paid opportunity. All right, accountants, thank you to government accounting who are keeping their rates at the same level. Much appreciated. And HR consulting as well. We're very reasonable rate. So there's only slight changes on some of these other lines. I'm only going to highlight the ones that need to be more a larger concern. Assessor's office is just from Jan's previous budget, so that's all taken from that. Just note that the mileage and meetings is now part of the education line. That was how the budget was written out. Where are you going? So
the insurance and surety ones going down, the utilities is going down. Is the utilities because we're expecting the solar?
solar and we've already seen huge savings from.
Oh, that's right,
insulation.
the insulation stuff.
Yeah,
And the
so-
insurance and surety bonds, we need less this year.
yeah, last year,
We did it.
was it last year or 2
Yeah.
years ago? I got rid of redundant policies, so that was fun.
Yeah, we had a warm winter and a cool summer.
Mhm. Yeah, and there was a couple weeks where we didn't even use our heat. Just kidding. Let's never do that again.
No.
Not on purpose. So we're hopeful that we won't need a huge jump in our building maintenance. The last year's with the insulation, asbestos, remediation, masonry work, heating unit. We have already earmarked 10,971 for this current fiscal year for that second heating unit. And then some additional funds for the solar project. So that is all we're anticipating. As Alicia mentioned in her report, our audit is almost complete, and we'll have a better sense of the longer term projects that we're gonna need to address in the building, hopefully before they just decide not to work. Would be fun.
Do we get the sense that, we'll have that report before we've got a finalized budget? My thinking being.
I think so,
My
yeah,
thinking being if, suddenly the report says,
yeah,
these 5 things are at the end of their useful life, we're gonna have to repair them or replace them in the next 2 years, that we can go back to this number.
I completely agree, and I think it was last year that we did end up upping the number.
That's what I thought, right?
Between this report and the final, because we were, something had broken in between, and I was like, yep. So the joys of a 1920s building. All right, home relief, same, that's general assistance for those who need basic maintenance. The outpatient services, we have never really used, but it's something we need to have just in case. For those who are on general assistance and need medical, emergency assistance is where the bulk of our general assistance is used. Right, that's the one time a year someone needs help with a basic need, housing, medical, educational. And our assistants can help them to address an emergency. So we did see that increase this year. And therefore I am requesting an increase on that line item. Again, the hospitalization insurance and hospitalization are things we do not use, but God forbid we do need them, we have to have them for our GA clients. The full pantry amount I'm putting on to the general assistance fund, which I had done last year. This is an increase, given our current usage and our current costs, offering additional dairy, etc. What I'm proposing to kind of keep it neat is that the general assistance fund will be used primarily for hygiene and cleaning products, while we spend out of the GA fund for food products. And that way it'll kind of keep us a little bit more centered on, our Maslow's hierarchy of
Do
needs.
you mean the angel fund? You said the general assistance fund
So general assistance is going to be 150,000
for food.
food.
And then the hygiene out of
We will
angel.
spend out of Angel Fund.
And we have a rough estimate of what the hygiene side of the equation.
I'm gonna budget about 50,000 for supplement to the pantry.
For the angel, from the
From
angel.
the-
So you're expecting quite an increase, because that's a $35,000 net increase.
I'm hopeful that won't have, we won't have to use the whole thing. But yes. And the Angel Fund meeting will take place, and we have not.
Is there any way to make the pantry just all under the Angel Fund, or have the pantry all under GA? I find it confusing and somewhat not sure of the fact that we're pulling from 2 different places to fund one organization.
Well, that's what I'm hoping that this deviation of kind of where things are gonna be spent from
Okay,
will help us with, so that the taxpayer money is being used for food. And we can continue to offer additional things, Lysol, period products. So,
but isn't that an imaginary line you're drawing? I mean,
Yeah.
there's really no distinction between food and hygiene in terms of, hygiene's
Well-
toothpaste, I assume?
toothpaste, yes,
So that's as essential as,
I completely agree.
But once,
So this allows us
yeah.
to kind of tell where things are going,
okay.
right, and where we are.
One's more emergent and the other's more elective, but hygiene is a big, Stefan makes a good point, and with the fact that we're on GA and the GA is gonna be robust, and we'll have plenty of money to spend down, this is maybe a chance to get the pantry up to 200 on the GA, and should we exceed that 200, then we can go to the Angel. If we think we might be using those Angel monies for something else. I think Angel Fund's spending on the pantry is outstanding, and I think most of the Angel Fund donors would not have a problem with it. But I'm wondering if now we have an opportunity in line with what your thought is to bump it up to 200 on the.
Is there any reason that somebody in donating money to the Angel Fund or the Nutria, so many people just write, to the Nutria Township pantry or to the Nutria pantry, right?
We thankfully now have
Yes.
a ZBA.
Correct. Is there any reason that the commingling of things would be problematic in terms of
That's what.
tax advantages for donors? Like,
It would still be used for
right,
the same reason.
right.
We're just saying,
No, I'm thinking about, like, I think it's a great idea. I love the idea of reaching into one pocket for the money for the one thing, but I'm just wondering if I can't imagine we're the first people in the world to have thought about this. I just want to make sure that there's no reason that this hasn't been done before.
Well,
can't think of
the other component of it is, we're trying to separate out the Angel Fund, which I'm now on the new Angel Fund group. Because we want this transparency between that and the township.
Mhm.
But my concern is, if the township continues to dip back in,
Mm,
the township funds, now you're mixing apples and oranges.
yeah,
And if you're trying to create an autonomous entity, that kind of goes against that thought, in my sense.
so the
That's why I'm
idea,
asking
right,
about it.
so the idea being, if we know that we have, 200, rounding errors, 200,000.
so, yeah, it's 201,000.
Right, but if we say, if we say that we have 201,000 for pantry, then if we are going over that, then we are going to Angel Fund. Is that the idea? And that,
I'm not even sure I want to do that.
or that's the ask.
I'm not even sure I want to do that. We have we have had a surplus budget
Mhm.
since I started doing this.
Right.
So my sense is that if we're short,
Mhm.
we're taking out of the budget. I have a problem mixing the two if we're really trying to create an autonomous entity.
And then I guess that's the other thing is, and I'm sure your group is doing this, but, listing out the things that, taking away the pantry expenses, what Angel Fund goes to, so that there's a lot of clarity.
Right, we still gotta use Angel Fund money, but I don't like the idea of the two being.
No, I get it.
I think the GA fund is so robust that I really think we should take the pantry entirely out of the GA fund. I think the taxpayers will appreciate that. That helps us decide better.
Out of the Angel Fund.
No,
No.
I want it all out of GA. I'm suggesting it all come out of GA because then at the end of the year, we really know whether we need to increase the levy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Paying for it,
Yeah.
GA, taking it out.
I would love that.
That's the linguistics.
Take it out of GA and bump it up to 2.25 then, if we ran 201 this year.
I'm in complete alignment. I think the pantry is such a central part of what we do here.
You're
And
right.
since we, do have such a healthy budget, and I feel like every month we're worried about, do we have enough money to cover expenses for the pantry? And that should
You're
be
right.
the less.
You're absolutely right. That's a very good point. All right. I do think 200 is reasonable here. First of all, because if we go slightly over, we're within that margin that we're allowed to do.
We'll be at 201 this year all.
We were at 201 altogether, yeah. And this was a particularly intense year, so.
But then the challenge is, What do we use angel funds for?
Well, we'll still have the emergency assistance for people who don't qualify for emergency assistance,
Understand
which
that,
is the number one, right? So
I'm just saying, it gives us an
it's
opportunity.
true,
to be
it is an
creative.
opportunity, yeah.
And we don't know what will befall us, and that's what's so beautiful about the angel fund is it's another line of reserve.
It is. Okay,
I appreciate you taking that into account.
Yeah. absolutely, cool, very cool.
And you're sure at 200 or 2.25 or somewhere in between there, or,
I think 200 is reasonable.
okay.
Because if you're off, you still have the 10% rule on those.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So as far as truth in budgeting. All right, personnel, so. Like button. Here, so here are, so you can see the salaries. I didn't add in this, I thought I would, but I didn't, so. So this is this current that just ended, these were our numbers for, our staff members on the township fund, not on the assessor's office. With our 3% raise, as you can see, other than for our restorative justice, which we increased, a bit. And then I split between, the town and GE fund per, our ability to do so, putting the food pantry portion of, Brian's, salary, because he's hourly. So this is an estimate on GA, as well as the entirety of the general assistance director, now that we can use, GA for our other financial, need programs. So that's, gives you your inputs for over here on staff.
Is there a reason those numbers are in red?
I was looking at that too.
Where are you seeing that?
707, the IMRF contribution and the social security contribution.
Because red usually means a negative.
Or
See it in the-
stuff or danger or, yeah.
Oh,
It's on the printing.
On the printed version,
Tweet
yeah.
those from the-
Oh, part of that, what, my guess is the reason was because at one point we were trying to get into our IMRF account and we needed to get the official number. And so this was, a number estimate.
Man, what?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so how, this must have been changed. Yeah, because the one that you guys have is different from what I have here. So my guess is this is the change that James made. Are you here, James? We weren't able to get, no, he's gone, but I'll get you the real reason, but we weren't able to get the IMRF contribution numbers when I was creating my list. So I asked him to look into that.
It is an outstanding pension fund. I've been a member of IMRF and also TRS, and I can't
Based
believe
on last year, IMRF currently.
very, very effective. And so we're blessed to have our employees have that.
So in the prior budget, it was listed as 28,000 for IMRF.
Yep.
And 15,831.68 for social security contribution. So that's what it is.
Yep.
It's a drastically higher number.
Okay,
That's the
that
change,
makes
yeah.
Got it. Okay, so
The red did its work. It's on color.
all right. The elected official count has not changed, obviously. We have till November to consider that. And that would be for post the next election.
When would be an appropriate time if we wanted
6
to?
months before the next election.
Before the election.
You have to.
And what month, what meeting would that be, just so?
I would say the October, yeah. Right now, Toy is doing a survey of, salaries across the state. So
Well,
we'll
that's
have,
helpful.
yeah. so
That
we'll
would
have
be very
information.
Jan, you get paid out of here, you don't get paid out of your budget.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get to set my own salary, I think is the
True.
deal.
Yeah, you get everything else, but not that one.
Right.
Yep. So that's, and that's the end. So
Good job.
that was a lot, it was a lot. Thank you for your patience as we walk through this. We'll prepare an official budget document for the May meeting. We'll post it properly. And the public will be permitted to comment to whatever they desire. I'll give myself back.
It was informative to walk through. It's so many budget things. We get good attention. Yeah, this is great.
Also, I like what you do with the angel fund, to be honest.
All right, we're back. Now. This.
The Senate committee won't be a board meeting, right?
The board is
The
on
Senate
this
committee,
Yes,
and we'll be there, but not,
exactly.
got it.
All right, that was our big moment. New committee application for disability committee, Graham Hawks. Is there a motion to approve Graham Hawks's application?
So, oh, second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Another thank you again to our fabulous volunteers.
We need them because you're losing some very key people
We absolutely are.
from the key committees.
Yeah,
And the 7 that are retiring,
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
very good ones.
Well, it's some real important ones that are on that list.
all right, I turn now to Kate.
Congratulations. We did it. Your space and butterflies. So, yeah, it's, we had a very successful first year of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge through the National Wildlife Federation. We successfully submitted the report and the committee that reviews did not come back with any additional questions, which is, I think, good. And they've invited us, you know, we're in good standing with them. They've invited us to re-up and I would like to do I ask for a motion? Do you ask for a motion?
Yeah, motion.
You can move. I can move. I am moving to engage again with the Mayor's Monarch Pledge through the National Wildlife Federation.
Second.
Any additional discussion?
And I'll do all the work.
Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of joining the Mayor's Monarch Pledge for this next fiscal year, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, continue the mission.
Thanks, guys.
Woo.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
All right, civic clerk proposal. We have discussed what civic clerk is. You have the proposal in your materials. Is there any additional discussion?
I have to be honest with you. I was against it on principle. I didn't know if we needed it. If it'll help Jerome, I'm all for it.
Not only Jerome, but also LaRusha. So, because part of the reorganization was obviously we got rid of having a administrative assistant. So this, you know, we're still kind of figuring out how we can leverage technology to make that organization work the best it can, right?
But like you, I was skeptical. I said, why do we need it? But Larisha convinced me and the program, and I would really listen.
It's cool.
It's just it's stuff that will make everything for our.
When you're not technical, you're not technical.
Yeah.
I just want to say for the record, I'm very much in favor of leveraging technology as long as it's good, proven technology.
Absolutely. This isn't new. Yeah.
And Gail, is this a one-time fee or is there?
For some of the fees it is, and for others it is not.
Okay.
18 the first year, 14 the
So
second year, I think.
Yeah, there's an
Yeah.
implementation fee that's one time, it's, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yep. Yep. All right, I'll call the question on that one. It's money, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Supervisor Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Cassell McNally,
Yes.
trustee Robbins,
Yes,
trustee Moser.
Yes, but was there a formal motion made?
You're right.
I move.
Oh,
Go backwards.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second. I'll second it on that.
Okay.
In favor of it.
Mhm. Now we'll call.
okay. So Supervisor Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Cassell McNally,
Yes.
trustee Robbins,
yes.
trustee Moser.
Yes.
And trustee Rubin.
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. All right, so new business, discussion of usage of GA funds under the new law. I'll present a formal policy, for your consideration along with the budget. So we will, I will entertain a motion to table that. I move to table. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none? Wonderful. All right, Elliot, your motion.
I'm proposing a money issue that we increase the peer jury scholarship this 1 year only to $2,000 because we have two extremely talented applicants, one male, one female. They're both 3-year peer jurors. They've served the maximum amount of time they can. They've been here during some difficult times when we didn't have full caseloads. They still come once a month, every month. They've done a great job. They wrote beautiful essays. I think it'll enhance our town meeting to have both of them up and reading their essays. I do think we have some precedent for this. We had many years back a 3-way tie.
That was bad, and it was on video, so,
Yes,
oh, beautiful.
but most importantly, we haven't spent the $1,500 budgeted the last 3 years because of COVID. We have essentially put the peer jury scholarship on hold, even though I thought there were deserving peer jurors that went through our program and graduated and never had a chance to apply for it. I think $1,000 per person, if we go with the two of them, is a little more meaningful than $750 per person. I don't think the extra 500 is a terrible hardship. We're spending thousands, possibly tens of thousands on the Oakton community scholarships. I trust that the kids are all New Township residents. I'm anxious to find out who they are and how they respond, but I know who these two peer jurors are, and I've seen them 36 months in a row, and they're great. So I'm hoping you folks will agree with me that for a one-time motion to increase the scholarship to $2,000 this year, so we can split it with the more meaningful number of $1,000 per.
Elliot, how much was it 1,500 per person last
No,
year?
we went 1,000 per person for 3 of them about 7-8 years ago.
But what was the 1,500
1,500 is, it's always been that.
for one person?
From one person.
Want to make it 3?
I think that's too much. I think increasing the budget by $500 is sufficient. $1,000 is a nice number per child. I mean, I would, if you guys think that the votes are there for 1,500 per, I'd be in favor.
It seems like you're contradicting yourself in this sense. You got great people,
Great people.
but you're gonna give them less of a scholarship than you've given to other people in the past. That doesn't make sense to me.
But I'm cognizant of our budgets and going over budgets. So I'm trying to be a good steward of taxpayer money, but also give the kids what I feel is a more meaningful number. 1,000 is a nice round number. And they'll know that we bumped up the scholarship $500 to give them each a little bit more than we would give them, than if we split it halfway.
But were they perhaps expecting 1,500?
If they were, if one, I mean, each one of them hopes to win. I think they'll be thrilled that they're each going to win. And I think, you know, I'm trying to split the baby here, but if you think the votes are there for 1,500 per, I wouldn't oppose it.
I want
How
to
many
make,
applicants did you have for this scholarship?
Just these two, because these two are still heads and tails. But hey, we have 20 kids, 30 kids
They're not
involved.
doing anything.
They are, and I'm there. They're doing a lot. They're here once a month, every month, deliberating on really meaningful cases, dealing with difficult issues, learning valuable skills. It's unfair for you to say they're not doing anything. Have you ever attended peer jury? You haven't. They're doing a lot.
I have not, because I didn't realize it was open because it involves youthful offenders, and I'm sensitive to that issue.
But I
That
think it's
being
all
said,
fine.
I would move for, to agree with, Elliot, that, a one-time increase of $500, for the peer jury scholarship.
Second. Any additional discussion? I mentioned to Elliot, we discussed this ourselves, that I simply just as a matter of principle, don't want to change, you know, what we've already approved. And especially since this is one of our few active, programs that doesn't have a financial need component. So that was my question.
you want to stick it to 1,500?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, so the committee wants to choose one, that's great. If they want to choose set 2 and do $750 each, that's their budget. Anyway, so with no additional discussion, all those in favor of.
Should we do voice,
Yeah.
or should we do solo because of financial?
You're right.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Trustee Cassell, no.
Yes.
Trustee Robbins?
Yes,
Trustee Moser,
No.
and it's gonna be exciting for that. Oh, and trustee Rubin.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so 3-2, and I don't know the dissenters.
And I would encourage the other trustees to please join us for peer jury.
And the scholarship, essayists have been very impressive. That's not where I was coming from.
No, I understand. Budget is so essential, and we have to be good stewards of taxpayer money, but these are kids that we know, and they just are working really, really hard. I think you guys will be impressed with the two candidates and with their presentations.
We voted no for different reasons.
I know that stuff, and I appreciate that, and I'm trying to split the baby and not.
When are the peer journal meetings?
They're, the first
Wednesday.
Wednesday every month, sometimes it's the second Wednesday,
And you do have to sign a confidentiality agreement.
yes.
I would like to start attending, please.
Please, well, attend one, and then if you love.
No, I'm coming along.
Oh, that would be good.
Yep. I need a copy and I need to be added to the distribution list for whatever I need to read together.
Would you please talk to Brian, mention to him, he'll put you on the list.
When he responds to my email asking for numbers, then I would be happy to do so.
And expand your email to say that you want more than, you want all the numbers from the beginning.
You're on that email too. You're welcome to respond as well.
Hey, do the peer jury winners know that they're speaking at the annual town?
They will find out, Brian will inform them.
Okay, but they'll be there, right?
Yeah, absolutely, we really want them to be there.
Okay, 'cause I'd love to add their name to the flyer.
Should be on the flyer. Every now and then, over the years, we've had somebody that can attend due to a final or a test or debate tournament or
But
whatever.
those are very special, and having them on our website, when we did the threesome there, that was fabulous.
There are debate tournaments on Tuesday.
Or some kind of traveling. You know, these kids are overscheduled.
I know,
And our peer jurors don't just do peer jury, they do a bunch of stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement of staff reports. We've received staff reports from all of our staff members. Is there anything anyone would like to take from their reports for discussion?
I had questions, but during the evening, you've answered them all.
That's why we moved it to the end. Okay, any additional discussion or questions?
What happened to this?
It is moot.
Oh, is it?
It was not brought up.
Yep. It was provided just in case.
So there's no conversation at this point? It's over?
We already approved all staff salaries 2 months ago,
Thank
last
you.
month.
I just wonder where it went.
So it
Exactly.
was included just in case he attended the meeting.
Yeah, and we had it. Yeah. So it was for public.
Thank you.
And for your knowledge. And since we have nothing else on our agenda, we're in line for motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We will see you at the centennial meeting, followed by the annual town meeting.
And the death centennial meeting the week before.
Yes.
And I think I did get that email, like,